Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles Savans, and welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamers Pro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, and entertainment. And we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And obviously, we have a different setup today. Some of y'all are looking at this video like, what the hell are you doing? Well, first of all, I'm visiting some family for Easter, and I'm actually using the office in the house here to shoot this video. So y'all just bear with me. We only going to be doing this for today. But anyway, let's get into this topic here. So, as you guys know, Stephen A. Smith recently made some headlines with some comments that he had to make about Phoenix Suns owner Matt Ishbia. Now, as you guys know, the Phoenix Suns have had yet another unsuccessful campaign, and we're even hearing rumblings of Kevin Durant possibly being traded or going to another team in the offseason. I've heard the Houston Rockets. I've even heard teams like the New York Knicks, etc. So they brought this topic item up on ESPN First Take to talk about it. Molly Karen brought it up. But before she brought it up, they were actually reacting to some comments that the Suns owner had to make in response to what Stephen A. Smith said earlier on ESPN, where he essentially labeled him the worst owner in NBA history. And he said he's up there with people like Donald Sterling, right? So Matt Ishbia actually responded to that, which I already knew, but then I woke up this morning and I actually came across some comments from Jay Williams of ESPN actually calling out Stephen A. Smith and saying that what he did was not analysis. It was just a performance. So what we want to do is want to quickly play first what Stephen A. Smith said originally, Matt Ishbia's response, and then what Smith said subsequently. And then we're going to also touch on what Jay Williams had to say. So take a listen to what Stephen A. Smith had to say, and then the owner, they're back and forth here. Take a listen to that there.
Matt Ishbia needs to understand that right now you are on the verge of being recognized as the worst owner in the history of basketball. That's saying a lot. That's saying a lot. Donald Sterling once owned an NBA franchise. James Dolan, until he recently hired Leon Rose, was on that trajectory. That's the trajectory, if you're Matt Ishbia, that you are on right now, being recognized as arguably the worst owner in the history of basketball.
Sure, you over the last couple of days probably saw a national reporter make some, ridiculous statements about you might be being the worst team owner or worst owner in professional sports history. Just kind of wondering what your response is, if you have one.
Yeah, so Stephen A. Smith, I don't take much he says seriously, I don't think many people do, to be honest with you. The things he said about Kevin Durant, just wrong and disrespectful. The things he said about LeBron James were just disrespectful and inappropriate. And so with that being said, I don't really think Stephen A. believes what he said. I think, he's doing his thing, he's on the mic, and he's doing what he's just, and I think he'll apologize to me because I think it's disrespectful to put my name and, aligned with anybody that was kicked out of the league or no longer part. If he wants to say for the first 2.5 years Matt Ishbia bought the team, we didn't win a championship, I think you probably said about almost every owner ever. But yeah, we had high expectations and we didn't win. We spent a lot of money and we didn't win. Yep. Be critical of me on that.
Is there a question, Molly, or you just want me to take it away?
No, I just wanted you
just
to have
wanted
your solo shot, and I just wanted you to respond.
I like this. I
Hey,
like this
Danny.
solo shot. First of all, in all seriousness, Matt Ishbia is absolutely right. I do owe him an apology because I mentioned Donald Sterling. I thought I was making it clear I was talking about basketball. I certainly did not mean to compare him to a person that was thrown out of this league and has been widely recognized as a racist. I should not have mentioned Matt Ishbia's name in the same breath as Donald Sterling in that regard. I did not mean to do that. I was not talking about that Donald Sterling. I was talking about the Donald Sterling that would be sitting courtside, heckling his own damn players and never winning anything and didn't give a damn. That's the Donald Sterling that I was talking about in terms of how ineffectual he was or ineffective he was as an owner on a basketball court. I certainly did not mean to do that. So Matt Ishbia is absolutely right. And for that, I apologize. I'm a man. If I'm wrong, I'll say I'm wrong. Unfortunately for you, sir, that's the only thing I'm wrong about. And that's the only apology that you're getting from me. Let's go one by one. First of all, with all due respect, you should have other problems than worrying about bringing up LeBron James and paying attention to that. I said what I said as it pertains to LeBron James. I meant every damn syllable of it. I ain't taking nothing back. And it is what it is. We are what we are with one another, and that's cool. It doesn't negate the fact that he's one of the greatest players to have ever lived, a great basketball ambassador who will be missed when he is gone. And regardless of whatever beef we have, I'm thankful for what he has meant to the game of basketball and what he has meant to all of our careers. That's what I have to say about LeBron James. When it gets to Kevin Durant, I stand by what I said about him. One of the greatest players to have ever played the game of basketball. I think from a talent perspective, Kevin Durant is top 5 all time. But the resume ain't there. Because you won when you went to Golden State. You lost everywhere else. And over the last 5 years, you've been bounced out of the first round a couple of times. You've been swept a couple of times. The one playoff series you did win in Phoenix was because Kawhi Leonard went down after game 2. And now you ain't even in the damn playoffs, okay? So it is what it is when I pointed to leadership, which brings me to Mr. Matt Ishbia. When Kevin Durant put out his tweet the other day, I gave him 2% of the responsibility. I don't know if you know that's a crime. It's a crime in today's NBA. You understand what I'm saying? One of these days, very, very shortly, I'm going to dedicate a full episode of First Take to covering the NBA the way the players would want me to, the way the coaches would want me to, the way evidently Matt Ishbia would want me to, because everything is roses, you know. Nothing's wrong. I mean, 2% of the blame, my God. You get $50 million a year, you can't get to the playoffs, and I hold 2% of the responsibility to you, and that is a crime. But that's what it is with Kevin Durant. It is what it is. So be it. I'm not backtracking from that either. I question the leadership.
Fantastic. So you heard what Smith said originally. You heard what the owner said in response to him. And then you heard what Stephen A. Smith said in response to that. So as I was going through the internet, I actually came across an article from awfulannouncing.com that actually highlighted what Jay Williams had to say in response to Stephen A. Smith's take on ESPN. Before we even get into what he had to say, our video is brought to you by a sponsor, Game Time. One of the things I love the most is making unforgettable memories with family and friends. And one of the things I hate the most is overpaying for tickets only to find out that there was a better deal out there. That's one of the reasons I started using Game Time. Game Time is the easy go-to app for last-minute tickets to sports, concert, and theater events across 60-plus states in the US and Canada. Game Time saves me time, money, and stress by curating only the best deals, so I'm not wasting a whole bunch of time scrolling through overpriced tickets. Game Time Picks is my favorite tool. It highlights the best value seats instantly. No more guesswork, no more wasting time. For example, I'm really looking forward to Game 1 between the Clippers and the Nuggets in round 1. Here's what I like to do. I turn on all-in pricing so I know exactly what I'm paying for upfront. I check Game Time Picks to find out the most valuable deals. And finally, I pick the ticket I want. I choose between the cheapest deal, the great deal, or the amazing deal. Once you select the ticket you want, you can use their panoramic seat view to ensure you know exactly what you're getting before you buy. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the app, create an account, and use code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Again, create an account and use redeem code CLNS for $20 off. And remember, whenever you support this sponsor, you're supporting this channel. Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to quickly read what he had to say. Hopefully we can put up these tweets, this tweet for you. He said, we've had Donald Sterling and Robert Sarver. But Stephen A. saying Matt Ishbia might be on the verge of becoming the worst basketball owner ever for firing coaches and spending to win. Nah, that's not analysis, that's performance. So that's what Jay Williams had to say in response to that. What are my thoughts on this? First of all, this isn't the first time that Stephen A. Smith has been known or called out for his hyperbolic language, okay? He actually got called out a few years ago where he said that Kawhi Leonard should be forced to retire. Y'all remember when he said that? When he said Kawhi Leonard needs to retire, Kawhi Leonard needs to consider retiring and all of that after he got injured. The crazy part about Stephen A. Smith saying that Kawhi Leonard needed to retire, is that he's the same Stephen A. Smith talking about, man, look, Kawhi Leonard looks great right now. Look, I think Stephen A. Smith has these kind of hot takes because I feel like every time he's asked a question on that show, I feel like he feels the pressure to have to over-deliver and give a take that will go viral. And I think that with every single take that he has, he's constantly trying to go viral. And I feel like he feels the pressure to go viral, to live up to his name, which is Stephen A. Smith. And sometimes he ends up going a little bit too far, where he steps in it, he says something that may be wrong-headed. In this case of what he said about Matt Ishbia said that he was going to apologize. And in fact, that's what Stephen A. Smith did not too long ago. Or you even heard it in the clip for comparing him to Donald Sterling. So I think it's just what Stephen A. Smith feels at times he needs to do. And sometimes he gets it right. Sometimes he makes a lot of headlines. People agree with him. And other times he does it and people disagree with him. And I think this is just one of those instances. Now, in terms of Jay Williams calling him out, I understand Jay Williams calling him out. But again, why don't they do this privately? Why is Jay Williams posting that publicly unless he feels like because Stephen A. Smith's comments were made publicly, they need to be responded to publicly, right? So he needed to go out there and kind of express his views on it. So I guess that's what he felt. But I don't know why he needed to go on social media where instead he could just call him up at it. But then again, it could be a play. I talked about this on one of our other shows. Maybe he did that and then he may invite Jay Williams on the show. They may go talk about it. And then next thing you know, it's generating more ratings. I don't know. But I thought that this was something worth touching on. So what I want to know from you guys, whose side are you on here? Are you on Stephen A. Smith's side or are you on Jay Williams' side? Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts in the comments and we catch you on the next show. Peace.